But then he's also got the church, Maggie, because the church is like, we're feeling so threatened. I think there was a reason we dumped all this shit in the ground. You know what I mean? All these bird-headed sluts with their tits out. Like, we hate all of this stuff.
History, I'd like to follow me down the rabbit hole. History, I'd like to, frankly, I want to know.
Hello, and welcome to HILF. History I'd like to fuck with Dawn Brody. I'm Dawn Brody, your host who believes that history is a party and everybody's coming. Now, before we jump into the sack with the Rosetta Stone, I want to take a quick moment to thank all of you who have come out to see HILF Public School, the live interactive version of this podcast. Man, I have got to meet so many of you, and I get to hear your HILFs and see cute pictures of your dogs. And then I jump on stage and we go down the rabbit hole, man. Unedited, it's raw. Some of my favorite people join me. It's so much fun. And we do it on the first Thursday of the month. However, heads up, there's no show in January 2026. I'll be on the road. But just go check the show notes for tickets, and then you come see me. Okay, it's a party. As for today, the Rosetta Stone. One of the most significant archaeological finds in human history. Okay, it is a decree, right? Just an official message to the people of Egypt that was carved into a giant slab of granite 2,200 years ago. All right, and it's why today we can read any ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. It was like the best decoder ring of all time, right? And it opened our eyes to stories and individuals that without the discovery of the Rosetta Stone may have been forgotten forever. And I just fucking saw it, you guys, the real thing, okay? Because as I record this, I've just returned from a trip to London where I stumbled around the British Museum for days, just sipping whiskey and taking notes. It was awesome. And I'm also so stoked because my guest for this is my sister-in-law, Maggie, who not only babysat my kid while I was gone, but when she was in college, she double majored in applied linguistics and Spanish. All right, she loves this shit. The Rosetta Stone has been her HILF even before there was a HILF podcast. All right, and you join us at my kitchen table. I've just poured you your beverage of choice. Let's get started.
Woohoo!
Hi, Maggie.
Hello.
This is already just so fucking great.
I love it. I love it.
So Maggie made us these pumpkin
spice espresso martinis.
It's so great. It's
good.
like 3:00 in the afternoon. Beatrice is going to be in school for another couple hours, and I'm just like, HILF with me. Let's start. Okay, so let's start with who you are and then why we are sipping pumpkin espresso martinis in my living room. For avid listeners of the podcast know that I'm married to the love of my life, Andrew Melby. Everyone calls him Melby. And Maggie is Melby's younger sister. Mm-hmm. And she's been staying for us for a while. How long have you been here now? Do you have a day count?
It's been 2 weeks, I think, as of today. Mm-hmm. I think it was 2 Thursdays ago. Yeah.
2 Thursdays ago. And you made it possible for me to go see the Rosetta Stone because Melby had a gig in London. I tagged along like a bum. And I just walked around soaking up history, taking notes, doing little sketches. It was a very romantic solo days for me. And I went to the British Museum twice and I was like, I'm going to see your HILF, Maggie. And I'm going to go there twice. I'm going to take all the notes. I'm going to listen to history books about the Rosetta Stone. And when I come back, girl, I'm going to bring you like a nice tin full of British biscuits.
Mm-hmm. Some with pigeons on them,
That's
best.
Right. And a brain full of history so that I can HILF you over a couple of martinis. And you were like, great. But you also kind of had fun, huh? Why don't you tell the people what you did while we were out of town?
What didn't we do?
Well, you were babysitting a kiddo. We have a 7-year-old daughter named Beatrice, and it was just, you were the full-time mom.
Yes. Mm-hmm. When I flew in 2 weeks ago, Grandma came with. We had a grand old time. Did a lot of fun stuff. Went to the farmer's market. Went to a pumpkin patch. And then we got to the real fun stuff. Single mom in it with Beatrice, who's the best kid to do that with.
Yeah.
Because she's so easy to have fun with. Mm-hmm. We went to school. What else did we do? We did some grocery store trips. She loved it.
Yeah.
That was not her favorite part. But we got some cool face paint at the farmer's market. Mm-hmm. And lots of fun little trinkets from Claire's and other miscellaneous areas in the mall.
Yeah, you're a
She
great
loves it.
babysitter, but you're also the auntie who says, okay, which is, I think, important. But like anyone, I think, not anyone, I think almost anyone can be pretty good with a kid, can be pretty good with a good kid for like a night,
Yeah.
maybe even a weekend. You did like 8 days, girl.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that is crazy. It's
And you had to get
whole
up
days.
early in the morning and get her shit to school. And like, she's an easy kid, but she still is going to be like, I don't want to get out of bed.
Yep,
I don't
no.
want to do any of that stuff.
And I'm like, same. I don't like getting up early.
But here we are, bitch.
Here we
gotta
are.
do it. We gotta do it. What would you say was the hardest part of being a single mom for a week, and what was easier than you thought, or the easiest part?
I think the hardest part was, frankly, the sleep part.
Your sleep or hers?
My sleep. Because at first I was like, my body's going to adjust. I won't be that tired because I won't be able to stay up late each night. And then I was like, all right, get to bed. Come on. You got to be up in like 6 hours. Easiest part was probably just the routine with her. Because not only have I seen it enough when I've been here, but she knows it like the back of her hand. So it was like, didn't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that, man. Like being a night owl since she started school is one of the hardest things, because same, I get like,
Yeah.
but when she goes to bed, that's usually when I get real, like I turn it on and I get like, okay,
Right.
I'm going to start a screenplay
Yes.
or something. But it's like, no, you can't you got to go to bed now.
Yeah.
But you did a beautiful job. I'm so grateful. And oh my God, did I have so much fun in London, girl.
It looked like so much fun.
It was really fucking great. And I hope the next time we go, we bring all you guys.
Yes.
It'll be a big let's parade. We'll bring everybody on board and everyone gets to go. You don't currently work in linguistics.
Correct.
Do you find that there was anything that you learned in the study of linguistics or language that has been sort of surprisingly applicable to your job outside of the discipline?
Yeah, I think to be very corporate America speak, I'm good at like catering to different audiences. Got some code switching down for sure that I feel like is
You hear other people's language,
Yep.
and so you can reflect it.
exactly because
Back
I've
to
got
them.
like clients who I work with. I've got my coworkers or my manager, and it's very different ways of speaking with each of them.
Yeah. So you know when to circle back.
Oh yes, I can
stick a
put
pin in
pins
that?
and things. Yep.
See, I was telling an audience the other day that I've never felt the reverberations of that more than when I was in labor. And I wasn't in labor too terribly long, compared to like other mamas, but like it was a minute and it wasn't going great for a while there. And they have these handles that you hold on to that are sort of like, so the idea is the mama can like pull on these handles when you got to push. And one of the nurses who had spent a couple days with me in a very critical moment leaned in and went, "Hey, Dawn, fuck those handles. Grab the back of your thighs and pull." And I just like looked at her and like zeroed in and was like, "Thighs, pull, baby." And I was like, man, among the things that like this particular nurse did really well was know what exactly to say to pierce through to the consciousness of like Dawn in that moment. And I was like, fuck what? Yes. You have my undivided attention. I can't say that I've ever been that turned on by linguistics as a study on its own, but count me among the converted.
I did for a brief period in college. Me and a couple of my friends did a radio show actually, and we each had our own little segment.
A precursor to the podcast.
Exactly. But we each had like a 10-minute segment. I did a grammar gear grinders segment. So I literally would just pick out things about language that I thought were fun. And I'm sure everyone was riveted by my rantings about the Oxford comma.
Sure, I'm sure they were. I would be.
Exactly.
Exactly. They all tuned in.
Yep.
How long did you do this show?
I think we did that for 2 semesters.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why your HILF is the Rosetta Stone?
I think it's because it is just so unique and cool and such like a cornerstone. I think I learned about it in college, but haven't really stayed up to date on like anything new and exciting with like people's discoveries. But I think it is just such a good historical like foundation for why I love language so much.
I get it, man.
Yeah.
I can't say that I would have described myself as like stoked about linguistics, but this definitely got me
Yeah.
onto your team. What I'm going to tell you about now, Maggie, is my sources. So these are like as I was bumming around London in between giant pours of whiskey and various rainy day pubs, dreamy. The books I was listening to, the essays I was reading, that kind of stuff. The first was a book called The Riddle of the Rosetta Stone by Jedzi Buchwald and Diane Greco-Jovanovic. I didn't say that right, but you can find the link in the show notes. That was great. It was particularly focused on the two people most responsible for deciphering the Rosetta Stone. So it gives you a little bit like, here's how it was discovered, here's what's that, and there's like these two guys, right? And then a second book called Just the Rosetta Stone by Omar Khalil. That was great for just doing the whole overall kind of. So you're wondering, what is the Rosetta Stone? All the way to like how it got into the British Museum, just to give the broad strokes. And then I know you don't listen to that podcast, and probably my listeners only listen to mine because
Obviously.
I'm just kidding. But many people, you may already know this great podcast. It's called Short History. Beautiful production value. Fucking great history. And they did an episode on the Rosetta Stone in December 5th of 2022. I also have links to that in the podcast. Okay, so I got all... Oh, and then, of course, being in the British Museum. This thing is like their big deal exhibit. And you can just sit and stare at it and like read all about it. You can't touch it. I tried. They were very specific. Usually what I do in the podcast at this point is after I tell you my sources, then I tell you the plan. Here's my plan. But what I'm actually going to do is tell you the plan after I tell you this dope story. Okay. Come with me, Maggie, to the city of Memphis. It is close to Cairo. In Egypt, we are 196 BC, girl. I'll do the math for you. That's over 2,200 years ago. And we're stoked because we're watching the procession of Emperor, yes, Ptolemy the Fifth. Woo, big day. Okay. He is a 13-year-old emperor. I think we can all agree that 13-year-old boys, particularly great at organization, leadership skills. And we're stoked. But really though, he's been emperor since he was 5. And check this out. Poor kid. If you want to like empathy for this poor 13-year-old boy, check this out. This is nuts. This is like his crazy drama. All right. His parents are brother and sister because that's how they do it in Egypt, and not great. We can all agree, but that's also sort of the beautiful, like the masculine, the feminine. They always try to make sure that the power is shared by a male and female. I know it's not. There's worse things. But his parents were brother and sister. Then they are both murdered, and they are murdered by dad's mistress. Yeah. So then the mistress kidnapped him, Ptolemy the Fifth, our new emperor, and was kind of like ruling in his stead. Like, I got the baby. It's okay. I'm taking care of him. And she was like making a lot of calls. This was very unpopular. And so the various powers that be take her down. And then crazy chapter of the movie in my mind is Ptolemy the Fifth is sort of tricked into ordering the execution of this mistress that murdered his parents. So it's like, maybe the mistress was great. Maybe the mistress was fucking Mary Poppins and like saved the day. And then the bad guys came back and got her. Maybe the mistress was an evil, rotten dragon lady who murdered his parents and he was finally free. That part of the history, we don't know exactly. We just know this part, right? But the bottom line is he's 13, he's Ptolemy, and he wants to be in charge of Egypt, right? There's clearly a bit of like dysfunction. And so he needs like help to like keep him and like make sure that like his throne is secured. And besides just the family turmoil, he's got other stuff. Namely, He's a fucking Ptolemy, man. How much do you know about Egyptian history in general?
Whole lot. Not a whole lot.
Does the word Ptolemy or Hellenistic era mean anything to you?
The second one, yes, Hellenistic era.
Okay, okay, great.
Yes.
So what is the Hellenistic era? It's okay if you get it wrong, but it is pop quiz.
I failed the pop quiz already, I fear.
That's okay. You didn't fail nothing because you made this martini. So you've already nailed it. So here's broad strokes. And once I got my brain around this, it changed the way I thought about Egypt entirely. Ancient Egypt is the oldest civilization in human history. Okay. It is over 10,000 years BC. Like crazy, right? Alexander the Great, who is Greek, okay, conquers the known world all the way to northern Africa. He goes from fucking Greece all the way, conquering everything and making it all his. And that's like 300 BC, okay, which means thousands and thousands and thousands of years after the pyramids and those sphinxes and the fair, like all of that stuff is old shit to Alexander the Great when he gets there. Alexander the Great's like, what's all this old shit? Because Egypt has gone through centuries of decline, as happens all the time. And they're so just sort of clinging to civilization that the priests and the various powerful factions that are in Egypt when Alexander gets there are like, buddy, I'll tell you what we need is a new pharaoh, a new emperor. And, you know, ideally, the pharaoh is Egyptian, but we can actually overlook that as long as they're rich and like able to like fucking do something here, right? As usual, money kind of talks, right? And Alexander the Great's like, I can't do it because like my hands are so full. I'm literally doing everything. However, I'm going to leave my best bud here. And my very best friend is going to be your new pharaoh. Congratulations. And he will take on all of your cultural things that matter to you with your feathers and your mummies and your headdresses and like your whatever your stuff is. We don't get it, but we'll do that if that's what we need to do, be gods. You said we were gods. That's amazing. We love this. We'll totally do that. And my buddy is Ptolemy. Okay. So Ptolemy's like, I'm sorry, what, Alexander? And he's like, good news, man. You're the new emperor pharaoh of Egypt and you have to wear all these feathers and stuff. But like, basically, that's the deal. Okay. So that's why the Ptolemy Hellenistic dynasty in Egypt is fucking Greek. And the city that is the most magnificent city is Alexandria. Because Ptolemy is, of course, going to name the capital city after his best friend, Alexander the Great, who just made him a fucking god. Okay. You and me and our boy Ptolemy V here are cruising through Egypt about 150 years after that. Which what I'm saying is that shit's crazy. The Ptolemies are like, to some people, they're the saviors. They're the gods returned, the ones who returned us to great Egypt and are sitting on the throne and male and female. And to others, they've always been fucking Greeks wearing our outfits.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So we're like, okay, he's not exactly Egyptian, but he is definitely Greek. And the Greeks are getting their asses kicked by the Romans, which is going to matter way over here, right? Eventually. And so essentially the priests, the like elite class that run shit in Egypt are doing Ptolemy V a solid. And they're like, buddy, you need like a buttress of support. How about us? So he gifts them, the priests, some grain, some gold. And they're like, we're going to write it down. What? Writing shit down, still a big deal. But more than that, we're writing it in stone, baby. And we're going to write your name in stone around the thing because what you need in a situation like this where you are a vulnerable guy is a cult. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So they get this thing and they carve this decree into this slab of granite and they send it up. I think they made like 6 of them. Is actually my best guess. And they send him out. Now, the people in this story, we got Ptolemy. He's the kid, bless his heart. He's dead in less than 20 years. The priest did what they did to get his name to be remembered forever. But he himself was dead in 20 years. Somebody killed him. Fuck, what are you going to do? The priests, whose asses he's kissing and who's kissing his ass to get this like thing written in the first place, their religion lasts like another 200 years. And the buildings in which they worship last maybe another 600 years. Because by then, the Romans not only conquer Greece, the Romans turn Christian. And they're like, get all this fucking pagan shit out of here. And so what had already been forgotten, right, what was already been sort of ancient Egyptian shit that was already sort of old and out of touch to like the new Ptolemy Hellenistic Greeks was like deliberately like, fuck all of this out of here. And it's why the Rosetta Stone is broken, thrown into a quarry, used as raw building material to hold up a Roman column. And it was found accidentally 1,200 years after it was carved.
Oh my God.
As a literal piece of construction junk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
Okay.
So that is what I'm going to tell you the plan. Okay. So here's what we're going to do with the rest of our time, okay? First, we're going to talk about the Rosetta Stone itself. Okay, what's on there? What did those priests write? What were they trying to say that they sent to these 5 or 6, 7, whatever it was, fucking temples? Then why the fact that they wrote what they said in 3 different languages matters and is what turned the Rosetta Stone into like the best decoder ring of all time. And then I'm going to talk about all the incredible drama of like the major figures who found the thing and deciphered the thing and the crazy, unlikely, like HILFing, fuckable details of all of that.
Excellent.
Okay, so before we go in and like really take the panties off of this stone, do you have any questions?
I don't think so. I think my main note would be I'm just excited for the drama piece, especially. I've been hanging out with a 7-year-old for 2 weeks. I'm hearing all about drama.
And then Wesley took my cowboy boots, and they're not even like. And then the big one this morning when we were driving in is she said that 2 5th graders called her Elsa, and I was like, Elsa, the beautiful blonde princess. She was like, yeah, and I was like, what? And I was like, girl, I got called a lot of fucking things. I take Elsa, I put that in my back pocket, and I hold on to it, actually.
That's a good one to get.
Let me describe what it looks like to people. You can look at it on your phone if you need a reminder, but for those of you who have never seen it or need a description, okay, the Rosetta Stone, as it currently exists in the British Museum, is like 3 or 4 feet tall. You can tell she's broken. Girl, she's obviously broken, kind of a dark colored granite. And the most significant thing is that you can see it's divided into 3 parts. The content of it is nothing, okay? The gist is this. This is Dawn's paraphrasing of what the Rosetta Stone says. Hey, y'all. Ptolemy is king. We totally dig him. He built some dope stuff. He's definitely God's choice to rule Egypt. So every year on his birthday, we're going to have a party and stuff. Keep it up. That's it. That is essentially, and it's not even that original. They really did appear to some extent to like copy and paste from other things. Cause like they were like, he built this amazing bridge in his 20th year. And it was like, he was only 13. So we're like, all right. All right. But the big deal is a big deal. Any written thing, and especially in stone, is a big deal. And now everyone's going to celebrate your day, and you're going to have a cult, i.e. we're going to have a ton of money. We're going to have support, people who know you. We're establishing sort of outposts out here. This is all a very big deal for an emperor. But the big deal with the Rosetta Stone is that in Egypt, in 196 BC, you wrote something down and you want everyone to read it. In that case, then you got to write that shit down in 3 languages. Okay, so the Rosetta Stone has this decree. Hey, y'all, Ptolemy's king. He did some gnome shit. Okay, that basic message is written at the top of the Rosetta Stone in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. That is the owl, foot, shoe, snake, wiggly line. Okay, and those are the ancient hieroglyphics that were there before the Ptolemies. That's the shit that even Ptolemy V can't read. Alexander the Great couldn't read. No one could read that shit. It was already old then. But it is the connection, right? Mm-hmm. The middle part of the Rosetta Stone is written in the Demotic. Another word for that is the Coptic. It has some relations to the Coptic, but it's basically, the way I'm interpreting it, is like the legalese.
Sure.
So it's the language of the merchants. It's the language of the lawyers. It's sort of like if you were thinking, like if the top part was in like these and thous, and the middle is in like party of the first part, should aggress party of the second part. Okay. They're just 4 different people. They're spoken by different portions. And then the bottom, the third part of the Rosetta Stone is written in Greek. Because the Ptolemies are fucking Greek. And they done been ruling here for over 150 years. So that's now like the common people's language. And what's even more incredible about this fucking shit is that if you can read the Greek, it says all 3 of these things are saying the same thing. So if you can read any one of them, the one thing you know is that the other 2 are saying the same thing, which is incredibly useful. Yeah. Right? When you're trying to decode things.
Yeah.
So they write all this down in these 3 different languages. They send it off to the various temples, okay? Then, as I told you, fucking everybody involved in it dies. From like 30 BC, so that's like 160 years after they've carved it, we're down to Cleopatra. She's the last of the Ptolemy line. And if you're a big HILF fan, you can go listen to my 2-part Cleopatra episodes. She does her best, man. She fucks Caesar. She fucks Anthony. She does everything she can. But son of a bitch, the Romans have just beat the Greeks at last. And at this point, Greeks include Egypt. And so with the fall of Cleopatra falls the Ptolemy Hellenistic line, okay? And then the Romans are like, ugh. Like, we don't know what we hate more about Egypt, that it's got Greek stuff all over it or that it's got all this pagan shit all over it, right? And as Christianity rises, they just are like, get rid of it. Specifically, and this took me forever, girl. I just have to brag about it because it's such a like historian flex. But the Rosetta Stone, this one that we found, was probably in this particular temple near Cairo. And it was the Roman Emperor Theodosius I, who ordered the closing of all non-Christian temples across the entirety of the Roman Empire, which included Egypt, which is when they would have taken these slabs, smashed them, and thrown them into some kind of quarry. Okay.
Wow.
Now, we don't know exactly how that particular slab makes its way hundreds of miles north to the coast. Because like Cairo, if you're looking at a map, Memphis and Cairo are kind of like south down the river. And Rosetta is north on the coast. So we have no fucking clue why this quarry, why these building materials were brought up there. But when they threw it underground. They built a Roman column on top of it. And then buckle up, sister. 1,300 years later, okay, we've already crossed 10,000 years BC, ancient Egypt, the Hellenistic Empire of Ptolemy's like, oopsie. We get through Cleopatra, the fucking thing gets thrown in. Okay, Napoleon, who thinks himself kind of an Alexander the Great, who similarly is like, I know I'm French, but I could take all of Europe and Northern Africa. And so he's tits deep in war for these territories in Egypt. And he's like, fuck, we're not doing great. I need this wall lifted up. We need to reinforce the defenses on this port city. And as they're digging into the ground, donk, the person in charge of this was like, hold on a second. Like, we got to call a guy. This seems like a big deal, right? And like, when I think about like the extent of history that stone unlocked for us, and how likely it is that they would have just ignored it or buried it again, or like is kind of jaw dropping. It like makes me crazy. It makes me itch.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions at this point?
I don't think so. I don't think anything that isn't going to be revealed as we continue through.
Okay, well, here's what we've got coming up. We're going to find out more about the folks who discovered that Rosetta Stone in the war zone, how it got from this war zone into the British Museum. Then the story of how they decoded the mother-loving thing and how crazy awesome that is. And then what controversies continue to surround the Rosetta Stone.
Drama.
To this day. Hey, before we return to the Rosetta Stone, just a quick moment to thank those who always keep me rock hard. my patrons. The latest to jump in bed with the pod include Donnie P., Morgan S., and Stanley C. Their generosity provides me with the time and materials to keep the history coming again and again. To join them, to find out more about the live shows, to buy HILF merch, and oh so much more, head over to patreon.com/HILF podcast or at HILF podcast on all social media. And
Follow me, follow me, follow me, follow. Follow me, follow me, follow me, follow. Follow me, follow me, follow me, follow. Follow me, follow me, follow me, follow.
we refilled the martinis. To be fair, when we originally made them, we just made a huge amount.
In retrospect, it wasn't the plan, but I think it worked out perfectly.
It really did. I've never in my life poured what's in a martini shaker down the drain.
Oh, no.
Like-
I think that's illegal, actually.
It certainly is. And your brother would leave me. He'd be like, well, I mean, we'll try to stay together for Beatrice until she leaves first. But we've made an empty vow. Okay, so when last we met...
Yes.
We covered the circumstances under which the Rosetta Stone was carved. We sort of hinted at the circumstances in which it was discovered. I want to start part 2
Yes.
with another story.
Okay.
So you and I, lucky us, with our martinis, are in the living room of General Jacques-François Menu in the city of Alexandria in Egypt. Okay. And our guy Manu, he was appointed by Napoleon and he's had this bitch in life. Picture this. Napoleon gets out to Egypt, right? And he's already into like science and discovery and archaeology. He understands that like this intellectual sort of unlocking the past is a huge deal. And so he brings a bunch of scientists and quote unquote savants with him to like help research and document everything he's doing. And this guy Manu is a nerd, girl. He's like a historian. He's just set up in Alexandria, one of those beautiful cities on planet Earth. He's given a house. He falls in love and marries the mayor's daughter. I know. Just sweet. Until Napoleon starts losing. And he starts losing so bad that they put this scientific nerd in charge of the army there. Oh. And Napoleon's like, I have to go. I'm so sorry. I really can't stay. It's because I have to go to Paris and be, but like, bye, bitch. Okay. And if you really want more on this, there's also, of course, the Napoleon episode on Waterloo. You can get more on that. But this is like the Napoleonic Wars when Napoleon's doing great before he gets exiled to Elba, the first exile. And so Manu is like, I'm sorry, what? I'm in charge of the army and the army's losing. But when the army finally loses to Britain, of all people, fucking the French hate the British so fucking much. You lose. You don't just lose your money and your fucking space and all your guns and shit. You lose everything you've gotten from here. And they were not quiet about what they'd been gotten from Egypt while they were there. They had been saying, we got the Rosetta Stone. We got a bunch of Egyptian hieroglyphs. We got a bunch of stuff because they were very proud of it and they were bragging about it. Okay. So the British were like, of course, when we've beaten you, so we'd like all of the things that you've plundered from here. And Manu, when he signed the fucking agreement, agreed. But now it's like he's a scientist, an archaeologist, historian deep at heart. And he's like, I can't give them the Rosetta Stone. Like the Rosetta Stone, you guys. Like, take my money, take my house, take my wife if you must. But Jesus, fuck, you can't take this Rosetta Stone. Like we all know how important it is. Like the best thing we got. And so he fucking doesn't give it over. Okay. So Colonel Tompkins Hillgrove Turner has come directly to Manu's fucking house to be like, girl, where is it? Okay. And Manu's like, looks like you have to find it. Okay. So, girl, it's 1799 in the city of Alexandria. There's a goddamn treasure hunt going on where the British are just literally like, where could it be? Where could it be hidden? Like, what warehouse? Who could have touched it? Where are the people who were interpreting it? Where were the people who made copies? And after scouring the whole fucking city, they can't find it. They go, well, where's the one other place in all of Alexandria, someone who could know where it is that we haven't looked yet? And it's Manu's fucking house. His house, girl. In some versions of this, Colonel Turner comes to Manu's house and feels like they're going to smash it because it's tense, man. And people do that a lot. I would rather destroy it than let you have it. I hate you that much. That's one of the terrible things that wars like this do, right? And he's like, the kingdom's master. So he's like, we're not going to try to take it because we don't want him to smash it. And then he comes back later with the toughest, biggest, broodiest looking, scary British guys he could find. But they were probably Scottish. And the French guys guarding it are like, you know what? Like, you guys are huge. It's just a rock. Losing sucks. We're not dying over this dumb thing. You know what I mean? Go ahead. The Rosetta Stone is put on a fucking gun wagon and wheeled out of Alexandria onto a goddamn boat and taken to the British Museum, girl, where that shit got set up by 1801. It was dug out of the ground in 1799. And it is in the British Museum on display by 1802. Like, that's crazy, man. I wanted to tell you all of that about the French and the British and don't smash it and hid it in his house and rolled it into rugs because, I want you to have some of that, like, contemporary drama for just that part. Every phase of the Rosetta Stone's life is mired in not only like ecological history and like geological history, but war and conflict and who it's just, it just keeps getting more interesting. So here's where I'm going to tell you about what we knew before we found the Rosetta Stone and then what the Rosetta Stone like unlocked for us. Okay. Mm-hmm. Before the Rosetta Stone, like when Napoleon got to Egypt was really the first time, which is like 1790s, that people were like, what the fuck is all this shit? Like, what are these like cat heads, pyramids, fucking, right? That the West was rediscovering a culture that had clearly been there forever. And what was tricky is that the hieroglyphics, the pictures, the oldest ancient language from that pre-Hellenistic, pre-Ptolemy, fucking Tutankhamun, those languages had been dead for centuries. There's nobody in Egypt that can read these hieroglyphics. They've all been dead for centuries. It's kind of like if you went to North Dakota and you happened to find some like a Navajo script on a wall, and so you bring some kid who's lived in Montana his whole life to come and read. Well, you're from here. Your whole generations of people are from here. Here's a writing on a wall. You'd be like, that was. We conquered those people. We destroyed those people. We erased their language. We have no idea. And then you add to the fact that maybe that kid in like Billings that you found to take to the cave is a foreign exchange student from like Russia. So now you're like, but you're in Billings. So what I need you to do now that you're in, North Dakota, as I need you to go, it's ridiculous how out of reach it is. But what we knew is that there are these hieroglyphs on every fucking thing. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you know what I'm talking about. It's the owl, foot, snake, wiggly line. Okay. And the big question, once we were staring at these things, trying to figure out what they said, among other things, is, so are these symbols phonics, where they represent a sound and I can actually read the hieroglyphs and sound out a word that means something? Or are these hieroglyphics ideographic? Mm-hmm. And they're like telling a story, as in if it's owl, foot, snake, wiggly line, that this is saying the owl went by foot with a snake to a river. Like, right. Is that, what it's supposed to say? And all that we've gotten after several years of staring at these things is one guy was like, hey, you know what? I think some of these are names. Okay. And folks were like, oh, really? And they were like, yeah, because it was like owl, snake, foot. And then see over here, it's like owl, snake, foot. And they're always together. And they're under these three things. And we all know they were the same guy. I think that's that guy's name. And everyone's like, wow, way to go. Okay. And then one other guy was like, hey, you know what I noticed? Because I've been staring at these things all day, is that if the owl is facing left and the owl is facing right, the snake, which way they're facing tells you which way to read. And it changes and it matters.
Interesting.
Precisely what his colleague said. Wow. Good job, Bob. That's going to help us. So now we've got Wiggly, Snake, Foot, River. Some of them are names. Some of them go, you know what I mean? We're still just with a lot of nothing.
So was this the only piece of what we know is the Rosetta Stone that was ever found?
Yeah.
That's it.
Of this one. They did in years later find like the copy. You know, because like one of the things that the Rosetta Stone says at the end is like, and so we're going to send this in triplicate to the various things. And they found some other ones which were enormously helpful.
Yeah.
Because in filling in gaps and the bits that were broken and stuff like that. And we've found other things like this since then. But this was the first and only one for a long, long time.
Got it. Okay.
Great question. Any other questions?
I don't think so. Not presently.
Okay, so the two personalities that are the most definitive in like, what the fuck do we do then with this Rosetta Stone is the French guy named Jean-François Champollion. Total dreamboat. And an English guy named Thomas Young. Sorry, his name isn't as interesting. He's also very fuckable. I know. But I do encourage you, as I describe these two men, to wonder, who with whom would I lay, if either? Okay. Much has been made. If you start digging into this stuff, much is made of the rivalry between Jean-François Champollion and Thomas Young. But really, I've been sitting with this content for a while. Their direct rivalry is really minimal. Like compared to any other professional, kind of both of you trying to do the same thing. It's just amplified by the fact that it's France v. Britain.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people who are like, these two guys may or may not have been buddies, but there were a lot of people that were like, fuck him. He's our guy. Right. And some of it was also felt. In fact, there was a very brief period of time that like Le Gasp, the British Museum loaned the Rosetta Stone to the Louvre. It does not make a habit of loaning the Rosetta Stone, like notably. It's the only loan it's ever done. And like while it was there, which, the French were like, merci, kinda. They did give it back, spoiler alert. But while it was there, they apparently had the portraits of Champollion and Young next to it. And the visitors would just fucking argue about why is his picture bigger? Why did they make Champollion's picture is obviously bigger? And then they were like, what are you fucking talking about? Look at what they did. Thomas Young's picture is so much bigger. And what are they trying to say? And they took it out, measured it. They are identical sizes. But it's just like a perfect, like, I feel like condensation of like how you just have to look at all interpretations of this stuff through the lens through which it was written.
Through the lens of Beatrice and her classmates. What I imagine happens on the playground.
Exactly. Be like, well, what did he meant to say? Because whatever that is bullshit. Right? Okay, so here's our first guy. We're going to start with Jean-François Champollion. Because I'm biased. And he's my favorite. Okay? Not just because I like to say his name. But because he's sort of my type. He's frail. He's ambitious. I in many ways, when I was reviewing his story, he reminded me of Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting, where he's just like really fucking smart and like too smart. Like he's so smart, he can't stay interested in something. And he's so smart, he like pisses everybody off because like nobody can teach him. Yeah. Right. Okay. So he's a child genius. His father was an alcoholic. His mom is illiterate. Like, right.
Wow.
His big brother, though, is like, you're a genius. And he really, like, you have to accept the fact that Champollion is actually a special mind of his time. Like, if Alan Turing was the right guy to, like, break the Enigma machine during World War II, like, there's something special about Champollion and his abilities at this particular time. What I mean by that is he knew by the time he was 15, okay, he knew Greek, Latin, Arabic, Classical Chinese, Avestan, which is an ancient Zoroastrian language, Middle Persian, and Persian. And he's already obsessed with Egyptology, which is like a 5-year-old study.
Oh my God.
Okay, exactly. So his big brother is like, dude, you're a genius. Let's get you out of mom and dad's house. Okay, I'm going to teach you and I'm going to introduce you to my professors and stuff. And he's just like best wingman ever. And he introduces him in particular to this mentor who is what we call a Bonapartist.
Oh.
Because this guy, de Sourcy, went to fucking Egypt with Napoleon. He was one of those like savants that was in charge of gathering the thing. He has a goddamn opinion about all sorts of stuff relating to Egyptology. And he's kind of like, you should probably take a look with all your interest in, and we really got to crack this thing. So he gets him a pressing of the Rosetta Stone. And Champollion, just looking at the pressing, is like, I think that middle section that they've been calling the demotic, that no one's like, what the fuck is it? It's not hieroglyphics. We know, we don't know what they say, but we know what hieroglyphs are. And we know what fucking Greek is. What the fuck is this middle part? And he's like, all I do is weird old languages. And I'm telling you, it reminds me of Coptic. And Coptic is like the oldest existing Egyptian dialect. Hardly anybody speaks it except for nerds and priests. You know what I mean? And he's like, I can tell there's like 15 prints, characters that look like this weird old language I can read. So he starts to get like super into it. Okay. And that was like the huge breakthrough. People were like, what the fuck? You can read the middle part? He's like, I think I can kind of read a lot of the middle part. Then the political crazy, Napoleonic Wars. He avoids the draft because he's just too important. He's trying to read. But then he like gives a fuck. So Napoleon, spoiler alert, loses and goes into exile, right? And King Louis the 18th is in charge. Again, go back to the Waterloo episode. And while he is back on the throne, our guy Champollion is like, I hate him. And he like writes shitty little songs about the king and is like treasonous. Then Napoleon escapes exile. And one of the places he stops is fucking Champollion's college. And they're like, Napoleon's back. And they're so excited, which means when he loses again, he's got a rough go of it, and he's tried for treason. He has to go into hiding. He tries to lead a student uprising. I mean, this Champollion kid, like, gives a fuck. And in the midst of all of that, he's working on this thing. And he's deciphering as much as he can, and he's trying to get as much information as he can, and he's, like, writing to other linguists around the world to, like, see, what they can do. He's fucking, okay? He's had, like, lovers, and he tries to get with his brother's wife, and that doesn't work out. It's very exciting. He's a poet. He tries to bed this hot Italian poet named Angelica. I'm like, go on, Champollion. You a busy girl. And he's always sick. He's constantly sick and he's very frail. And so I'm just like, man, I love this guy. He's like never gives up. He gives a fuck. But he's got, when it comes to just interpreting and trying to figure out what this Rosetta Stone thing fucking says, he's up against it. I told you this mentor of his turns on him. Just like in Good Will Hunting, he's all jealous. He's like, you're better at this than me. And he gets really like jealous, tells Young, don't share your information with this kid. It's, right? Terrible. But then he's also got the church, Maggie, because the church is like, we're feeling so threatened. I think there was a reason we dumped all this shit in the ground. You know what I mean? All these bird-headed sluts with their tits out. Like, we hate all of this stuff. But then they were also particularly mad because one of the other Egyptologists, not Champollion, had found an artifact that was 15,000 years old and appears to talk about a time previous to 10,000 BC. And the church was like, that's crazy because we don't think the earth is more than 6,000 years old. And we've been really clear about that. And Champollion had looked at the evidence and found that it wasn't actually 15,000 years old. It was younger. So the church was like, oh, thank God. Okay, great. And they gave him like a ton of fucking money. And then he did find an artifact that was older than 10,000 years old. And the church was like, no, wait. And he was like, I never said that it was like my thing. I was just telling you the truth. And they were like, we want our money back. It was very exciting stuff. But he's got shit. Do you know what I mean? Like it's also just proof of like how hard it is to just be accurate. Mm-hmm. right? Like there's always sort of this war on truth, but then huge breakthrough, okay? 1822, Champollion reads what they call as his letter to Dacier, which is a big deal because like in the audience listening to him read this letter is de Saucy and Young. They're both physically there. Everyone's fucking there because what Champollion has implied is that he cracked the hieroglyphs. That he didn't just figure out what that middle section fucking said. He can read the owl foot squiggly line shit, Maggie. Like everything. It's like, you can read everything. You can read all of that old Egypt, the pre-Ptolemy, pre-Hellenistic, old ass shit. You're telling us you can read all that shit? And he's like, okay, it's nuts. And he's like, here's the trick, is you can sound it out. They are phonetic and it's a hybrid, man. They're also iconographic. It's like you have to be able to simultaneously sound it out and follow the story. It sounds like a joy to read. I wish I had the time to learn ancient Egyptian. There's still a lot of jealousy and stuff like that. But here's the image I want to leave you with because it just, my heart swells, okay? Our guy, Champollion, frail, weak, always sick, but still fucking and fighting for the good fight. Huge brain. Against all odds, he gets to go to Egypt, okay, which from Paris in the 1820s to get to Egypt is incredibly hard. It's akin to the number of people that we know who've gone to the North Pole. Wow. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, can people go there? Yes. But do people go there? Like, no, not really. It took a month on a boat. You have to have 1,000 pieces of permit. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's British. It's French. You're French. Who owns it now? The nuts. However, he gets there, Maggie, and he has the experience, the only human being on planet Earth who can walk through the city of Alexandria and read everything.
Oh my God.
He can go into older cities. Frankly, the older the cities, the better, because if it was written in Greek, I mean, anything in Alexandria that was written post-Ptolemy, anyone could read. He's going into these ancient cities. He can sing the songs on the tablets from the temple. He can read the names and the stories, who's buried there, who they met. I mean, can you imagine? It's like, my head spins and he's giggling and laughing. He's having the time of his life. I cannot imagine. No one else on planet Earth can do this. He's just unlocking doors and he's trying, he's taking notes and he's trying to write. And he's like, and he's also learning new stuff as he's going. Holy fuck. Ecstasy. Intellectual, historical ecstasy.
That is wild.
Wild. He writes down as much as he can. He gets as much as he can. Of course, he's a big deal. He gets a job, professor of some huge university. He gets back from Egypt. He's so weak. He exhausted himself in his ecstasy so hard. He can only give 3 lectures before he dies of a stroke.
Oh my God.
He dies of a stroke.
Worth it.
Worth it. I agree. That's exactly what I thought. Totally worth it. And guess who died the same year? No. Thomas Young. And like, you want to think about your friend Dawn just like stumbling drunk through the halls of the British Museum reading this story in small chapters. I was like, it's the fragility of man. It's what the Rosetta Stone is all about. It's why you have to carve it in stone because our sabby skin sacks just fucking die. Because the one giant brain who can tiptoe through the middle of a town and read everything fucking dies. And it's just the computer's underwater. It's gone.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, gratefully, we have a written language and he was able to write it down and people picked up the torch and genius is not an isolated incident. And, you know, we can now read almost everything.
Wow.
Because of the work of these, you know, 2 specific guys. Do you have any questions before I move on to, I'm just going to pull Thomas Young's undies down. we're not going to go as hard on him. He's great. He's not as great.
I've got to say, I feel like it's going to be hard for him to live up to that. because
And this is coming out of the British Museum. Like, I have been biased. I was in the city
Yeah.
of the victor. And I was like, I mean, he did great.
yeah.
He's no Champollion.
I'm gonna have to look them up. Are there documented
Oh, yeah.
photos of them?
You'll be shocked to know they both look exactly the same.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's the early 19th
Yeah.
century, and they all, wigs and dumb shit.
Sure.
Here's the sexiest stuff, though, about Thomas Young, because he's not sexy. Give me a break. Thomas Young is a polymath. Do you know what a polymath is?
No.
Is as hot as any other poly thing that one can be offered. It's the equivalent of a Renaissance man. It's one of those individuals who is not just good at a bunch of stuff, but is an expert. Thomas Young contributed enormously and is still cited in, medical journals for his work on vision, wave theory of light. He invented a form of tuning musical instruments, solid mechanics. I mean, just a huge mind. Again, I mentioned earlier that Champollion was uniquely qualified to do this. Like, he was the one guy on Earth at that time with a very special set of skills. Thomas Young, crazy smart. Like, Albert Einstein writes about him in an introduction to a book. He's like, I'm kind of smart, but I don't know shit compared to this guy, Thomas Young. But he was really, really key in actually interpreting that middle part, that demotic part. So Champollion had said, I think it's kind of like Coptic. Young had interpreted a ton of that stuff, but when he went and saw that letter, the speech about how he cracked the hieroglyphics, he was like, shit, good job, man. I can't be mad at you. Like, way to go. But then their relationship soured because he just didn't feel like he gave him enough credit. He was like, I'm really like proud of you. You took a huge leap, but like from what I did, and he didn't feel like he got. And so this shitty little stuff, he'd write like reviews. Young would write an anonymous review of something that Champollion would wrote and just be like, I feel like he's just kind of like an ungrateful little fuck. It's like my take on it. I feel like he sucks. You know what I mean? And then Champollion would be like, hey, I just got this really terrible review. I'm just wondering if you wrote it. It's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. Some of their back and forth. But as I said, in 1829, both of these squishy little skin sack mortal non-god individuals dropped dead in the pursuit of what the Rosetta Stone is, what it says, how can we apply it, was left to those of us left behind.
Interesting.
Here is the controversy that surrounds the Rosetta Stone to this day, and it is mostly around who should have it. To whom does the Rosetta Stone belong? And I hope that I've walked you through a sort of adequate path from like who carved it, who it was about, where it was found, who got all that stuff.
Yep.
Okay. Here's the general arguments. Okay. The British, of course, are like, kind of feels like a finders keepers.
Of course.
We gave back Hong Kong. We lost the colonies. We're fucking keeping the Rosetta Stone. We get to keep something. But yeah, I mean, there's a very complicated, it's very eloquently written. It's very complex. But the bottom line is we found it and we want to keep it. Their arguments are, it is a universal treasure. It doesn't belong to anyone. Mm-hmm. It's not ours. It's not really like anyone's when you think about it. But we are going to keep it here in the British Museum because we are keeping it so safe. It is accessible. People can see it. Everyone who comes to see it, it's free. You just walk into the British Museum to pay anything. You don't have to pay a special ticket to see the Rosetta Stone. You do have to pay £5 to get the guidebook, which I did, and I earmarked everything and underlined everything, and it was my very best friend and dear companion. Mm-hmm. But it's totally available. Okay. Wow. And there were world wars, girl, and we moved it into a safe location, but it was still accessible to everybody. So we've also gone through some really like scary stuff. No one's ever stolen it. It's very heavy. Mm-hmm. Ta-da.
Fair points.
Okay, and the French are like, so I mean, I feel like totally finders keepers, which means we found it. Right? So if we're going to do finders keepers kind of stuff, I kind of feel like, duh, because like, bonjour, c'est nous. And if it's a universal treasure, couldn't agree more. Sounds like as a universal treasure, great way to like indicate that it's a universal treasure would be to let us have it for a while, and then you guys have it for a while, and then we like celebrate who found it, and then we celebrate who stole it from the people who found it. Right? And as I said, they did loan it out. Like the Louvre had it for a hot minute. And they gave it back.
Good
God
thing they
bless
didn't
them.
have it, like, what was that, last week? Over the weekend?
Dude, that happened while I was on the plane flying home from London. Cat burglars broke into the Louvre. And it's lucky because if I would have been there when it had happened, I would have taken full credit.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I had an unfortunate alibi. You know it wasn't me. But yeah, no one's tried to steal the Rosetta Stone. I suspect it's because, wow.
Oh my God.
I did, however, buy a thumb drive shaped like the Rosetta Stone, which I thought was
Smart.
very clever. Because like one, you spin out the USB and then two other little ports come out so you can charge. All of your devices can speak to each other.
Oh my God.
I know, it's so meta.
Wow. 3 of them.
There is yet a third claim, of course, to ownership of the Rosetta Stone. If you dig deep, Maggie, into your heart and mind, can you imagine anyone who might have a claim over this ancient Egyptian artifact that is neither British or French?
It's certainly not us, is it?
The United... Oh, I'm sure. I have no doubt. I have not Googled this to confirm, but I have no doubt that there aren't individuals in the current administration that are like, I feels like if we're not sure, it should probably go in that new ballroom.
Right?
We'll treat it with the utmost respect as a chocolate fountain. No, it's not us.
The Greeks.
The Greeks, frankly, would have a great say.
Yeah,
But
they
let's
would.
think about where it was. Where was it found?
Oh my God. Egypt?
Egypt.
Egypt,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
yes. I was
Egyptians.
like,
The
Egypt,
Egyptians are kind of like, I feel like we could be included. Because, oh yeah, what's that language you guys were all trying to figure out how to read? Oh yeah, it's Egyptian. Oh yeah, where did the French and the Spanish stand fucking fighting over who gets to take this home? Oh yeah, that would be in Egypt. So it sounds to us like it's Egyptian. At which point, of course, the British and the French become instant friends. And are like,
yeah.
no,
Not you.
it's a universal treasure. It's a universal treasure, you guys. They did, though, the British Museum did send the Egyptian Museum a full-sized fiberglass color-matched replica, which I think is generous of them.
Yes.
But also, if you really want to nitpick about this, though, yeah, it really doesn't. It's hard to say because I've already walked you through how ancient Egyptian had been dead for centuries before the Greeks invaded, and then the Romans invaded the Greeks. And so you kind of get like the Egyptians who are there are claiming a cultural heritage and a geographic heritage, but technically you're the offspring of your own colony.
True.
I don't know. I think, here's my hot take. It's controversial. I haven't submitted it officially to the British Museum, but I hope that they take me seriously. What if we blew it up, ground it into fine dust, put it into 3 equally beautiful lava lamps?
Ooh. I was thinking like the Infinity Stones.
Great.
Like from Avengers.
I think that's another great suggestion. It does appear, however, at the moment that Britain's just going to go ahead and hang on to that until all shit breaks loose and it can't be anything else. Well, Maggie, Melby, we have thoroughly HILFed
Yes.
the Rosetta Stone. Do you have any questions, observations, feelings, thoughts?
My thoughts are that I think if I had a bachelorette party, I would want to have it like that first part where they were trying to get the Rosetta Stone and going, where is it? It's in his house. I feel like a fun little scavenger hunt themed around that would be fun.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You get like, okay, girls, there's a giant rock somewhere in this city. You got to find it. You got to get into a truck that can haul it.
Perfect.
I think it's great. I fucking love scavenger hunts. No shit. In the British Museum, I was creeping. I creeped behind field trips of young children because they all got handed these really giant, colorful pieces of paper with like hieroglyphs.
Whoa.
And you had to like learn how to spell your name in hieroglyphs and then also follow the path of like Young and Champollion. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Wow.
Can I get one of those? And they were like, madam, we can smell the bourbon on you from here. And I was like, fuck. When you're there in front of it, one of the things that struck me the most is that people get real dumbstruck
Oh, yeah.
really fast. You know, it's kind of like, oh, it's the Rosetta Stone. Sweetheart, it's this Rosetta Stone. And because it's a little crowded, you're trying to, but once you are able to see it, it gets real eerie and
I'm
very
sure.
still. And I was contemplating that because there's mummies and there's jewels. I mean, there's all sorts of dope shit in there. And I think, and it's not beautiful. And it's expensive only because of its like perceived value, but it's not like diamonds and rubies and like the shit you see at the Tower of London.
Right. It's just
It doesn't
granite.
sparkle.
Yeah.
It's obviously broken.
Yeah.
But I think that feeling connected to humanity over a millennia is fucking titillating.
Yeah.
Not
That is
only
wild.
seeing the artifact, but knowing it's saying something, it's talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of our proximity to the grander history, knowing that because they tried to talk to us, we can hear their ancestors. We can hear from 10,000 years ago. And for you and me, even the 200 years that separates us and Napoleon is sexy.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it makes
is
for a
so
great
cool.
HILF. It makes for
Yeah.
a great HILF. Girl, I am so grateful that you assigned me this HILF. I am extraordinarily grateful that you literally cared for my child and kept her alive while I got to go get loaded and stare at this thing for a couple days. You're the best, and I love you.
Thank you. I love you. So fun. Woohoo.
Oh, thanks again to Maggie Melby. And, you know, usually this is where I tell you go see the shows or follow their content. But Maggie is a real person, okay, who isn't schlepping comedy or trying to sell books. So follow her because she's awesome. But otherwise, just, you know, leave her alone. Coming up next episode, I am HILFing the legendary rebel who challenged Rome. Spartacus. Oh, and my guest is comedian J.B. Ball. And you guys, when we recorded, he brought books. All right, multiple books about Spartacus. I mean, he is as nerdy as you and I are, and we go just hog wild on this stuff, and you won't want to miss it. Until then, our theme song was composed and performed by Kat Perkins. Artwork for HILF is designed by Joe Dressel. And a reminder that you can find my sources, links to the books, documentaries, and articles I reference in the summary of this episode or by emailing us, hilfpodcast@gmail.com, or messaging us on social media @hilfpodcast. If you'd like to leave a little cash on the nightstand, wow, that'd be so nice. You can find me on Patreon or buy me a coffee. Links to these and more are all in the show notes. And this has been HILF, History I'd Like to Fuck with Dawn Brody. I'm Dawn Brody, reminding you that history is a party and everybody's coming. Ecstasy, intellectual, historical ecstasy.